Get this, adults with financial literacy skills have 82% more wealth than those who don't. From swimming lessons to piano classes, us parents invest in so many things to enrich our kids' lives. But are we investing in their future financial success? With Greenlight, you can teach your kids financial literacy skills like earning, saving, and investing. And this investment costs less than that after-school treat. Start prioritizing their financial education and future today with a risk-free trial at greenlight.com/Wondery. Greenlight.com/Wondery. Looking for your best sleep ever? Sleep Number smart beds are literally made for you. They adapt to your changing needs. So whether you're dealing with sore muscles or running hot at night, your bed automatically adjusts for optimal comfort. Want softer, firmer, cooler, warmer? With personalized firmness settings and temperature control that cools up to 20 times faster than leading competitors, you'll get the perfect sleep environment every night. Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? So you can choose your ideal comfort on either side. And now it's the Sleep Number Everything Smart Bed sale. Every smart bed and base are on sale during our Memorial Day event, up to 50% off, limited time, exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. See store or sleepnumber.com for details.
This is Ricey. You've been hearing my friend Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, for years on the radio and Garage Logic podcast. With the new year approaching, I strongly recommend you sit down with Josh for your no-cost, no-obligation, 48-minute consultation on your investments, including your IRA and 401k. You can benefit from Josh's years of experience navigating different market and economic conditions, and he'll always give you straight talk and not sugar-coated advice. Give Josh a call now at 952-925-5608 to book your no-cost, no-obligation 48-minute consultation. That's 952-925-5608. You'll be glad that you did, and tell him Ricey sent you. Don't forget to ask, why is it 48 minutes, Josh?
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Patrick Ricey is a paid endorser.
Here we go.
I have a question for you.
I am ready.
Josh Gibson becomes MLB career and season batting leader as Negro League statistics are incorporated.
Yes.
Well, can that be...
They are now, if you look and say that, they've just cleared the Negro Leagues to be a major league. So then they're putting all the major leagues together. If you still want to see who led the American League in hitting all time, you'll see Ty Cobb. And if you want to see who led the National League. And this is it's a very correct thing to do, except the Negro Leagues were really disorganized, and
plus he never had more than 249 bats in a season.
Yes, so they
according to Kelsey sent me something.
They played more, traveling games against various teams than an actual.
He had
league.
808 total hits in 14 years.
Yes.
Well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just...
He was a victim of their disarray.
Yes, he was. He was. Yes, he was. That's for sure. But, what the hell? It's...
Probably a hell of a player.
Yeah, when you go to Baseball Reference, if they put it in there, you just go American League. Then you see who led Ty Cobb, and then you see National League, and you say, well, he hit more than the guy from the National League. So
are they going to then incorporate the Hall of Fames together, or is that the Negro League's going to stay in Kansas City?
No, they do have a
wing.
Black people, black players from the Negro Leagues in the Cooperstown.
Oh, they do.
Then there's
okay.
a different. The Hall of Fame in Kansas City is different. It's got many more.
Got it. Okay.
Of the black players,
Got it. Okay.
I haven't been there actually. It's probably pretty good.
The reason I mention it is because when we were down in Kansas City a couple summers ago, we went 4th of July weekend, and it wasn't open. I thought, why would it be open in the 4th of July?
Who was the wonderful commentator about black ball players on the Ken Burns thing? Who am I thinking of? He was just great.
I'll look it up.
They just finally put him in the Hall of Fame. He missed the first time, and what the hell's his name? I took my wife to one All-Star game that wasn't here, and what was his name?
I'll look it up here.
What's his name? What's it? God almighty, I'm unbelievable.
Give me a second to look it up, though. It's going to take me a minute.
Just just everybody knows him. Everybody, boy, this is sad. This is sad that we can't think of him.
This is your specialty, Patrick. You're supposed to remember this.
Yes.
Give me a second. Give me a second. I'll find it.
Yes. Buck O'Neill.
Buck O'Neill.
Buck
O'Neill.
And Buck, my wife had watched baseball with, the 9-part series with me. And Buck was there. She loved Buck. She loved Buck, everything about it. And Buck was at this all-star reception, and I thought she was going to run off with him, man. She loved him. She sat there and talked his ear off for 20
Buck couldn't
minutes.
shake her, huh?
No. Buck was friendly as hell, though. And I was wandering around talking to other people, and I looked, and she's still talking to Buck, Poor Buck getting her baseball insights from Katie. That had to be an experience. But, yeah, what a great guy, though. Man alive. He captured that whole show, too. I mean, he was. And they then, right after that, they announced, this is going to be the final group of Negro League players and executives and everybody from the Negro Leagues, and they put in 22 or 3 guys, and he wasn't included. And about 4 years later or 5 years later, they came back and included him and one other guy from that.
I'm
era.
glad he was still alive.
It was. I think he was still alive. It was people. It was the relatives of a famous owner of the Negro League baseball teams, who was being inducted into the Hall of Fame when I went into their house and was started to get ready and go to sleep. But fortunately, as I said, when I used the facilities, it was only for a little, urination.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Was this in Cooperstown?
Cooperstown.
That's when you went into the wrong house.
Wrong house, and it was people from.
And the owner of the house was an owner of a Negro League team?
The renters of the house.
Yeah.
They were renting the house.
And they were there for the black
their
inductions?
Father, yes. The father was a white guy, but he was an owner, and they put in a few of these executives, too. Yeah. But this was the grandfather and all.
But that family staying at this house.
Staying at this house.
And you go in and use the can?
No, I took my bag in, my suitcase in.
Which room is mine?
Settling down.
This wasn't the Kirby Puckett year.
No, that I knew where to go.
Yeah.
It was because of the Kirby Puckett year, though.
Yeah.
They described, I went for Ringlesby, my friend Ringlesby.
Yeah.
And they described where we were staying. Mm-hmm. And it was a country house.
Sounded like where we were.
A white country house, little gravel parking lot off the road, little barn across the street.
Yeah.
I said, I already stayed there.
Yeah, I know this place.
Those guys were going to have a few more drinks, and I'd come in that day, got up at 5 a.m. or something. And I said, I got to go get some sleep. And then all of a sudden, I've told this story. I looked around, and there's pink suitcases, and then there's no computers.
Right.
There's no.
That's a tip-off.
There's no material,
no writing material.
No writing material. And I said, this got to be the wrong house. And as I grabbed my stuff, and I was on the front steps, and they pulled up.
Oh, boy.
That side. It was just like the place we stayed at. The steps were on the side.
Yeah.
It was the same house, except it wasn't,
Were they were understanding?
Well, they offered to say, hey, we got an extra bedroom. You want to stay? And I said, I better go find where these people are,
Yeah.
'cause,
You're out of toilet paper.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, God, I was happy. Never happier to not done my business in my whole life. So.
Oh, man. They might still be standing outside.
But, so I made the mistake when I went and found the guys I was staying with to tell them about this experience.
Yeah.
Because I can't keep my mouth shut. And by the next day, the commissioner of baseball was saying, "Hey, I hear you breaking into houses and stuff like that." It spread like wildfire that I was moving into the wrong house. Yes, it was.
That's a quaint part of the state.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Didn't you go? You went last summer, right?
Tony and Cott were 2 years ago.
That was already 2 years ago. Okay.
Wasn't it 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years
Okay.
ago. I'm going again this year for
Joe.
For Joe and also for Jerry Fraley. The late, great Jerry Fraley is going into the Hall of Fame as a writer. So Wicker's making the speech for him because
really?
Jerry died a couple of years ago.
Didn't Wicker retire?
Yes.
What's he do?
I don't know. He writes. He wrote a play or two. He's working on stuff. He's just having deep thoughts. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are you having deep thoughts about the Timberwolves?
God, I got to go home. I didn't watch it. I taped it, and I got to go home and watch it at least the second half when I get home today.
Here's their key. When Towns plays well, they got a shot. When he doesn't play well, they got no
this
shot.
Deep theory about basketball. When you make shots and they don't, you win. When they make shots and you don't, you lose. And down the stretch, Irving and Doncic, who had been great in the fourth quarter, I was listening to Alan Horton, and they were between them were 5 for 19 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they did not play well.
Is Luka a better villain than the Joker?
Oh, God, yes.
People are really down on him. I mean, they're all whiners, but
right.
He takes it to a whole new level.
He throws the pouting face in.
Pat, last night he complained to the ref on a foul that favored him. Mm-hmm. He whined. I'm thinking, what the foul was called? I think it was on Cat, and he still complained.
The NBA, these playoffs have been great, but the whining is they got to do something.
They got to do something because the product is lousy.
Well,
the product is lousy because they can't. Here's the world's best basketball players, and it's inconsistent beyond imagination.
Yeah, it's an impossible game to referee, and if you called every bit of contact, you might as well just start the game and
then change the rules.
Each team shoot 100 free throws, and whoever wins. But they gotta stop complaining. They gotta. I don't know. You can't call 25 technicals.
And then these officials going over to the scoring table and staring at it for 10 minutes. That doesn't do a thing for me. Last night they did it to put 0.2 of a second back on the clock. The game was over.
The game was over. Scott Foster. Alan was listening to Horton and Jim Pete on the radio, and they were pretty funny. One last moment for Scott to become the center of attention. You know? But I don't know. The fact that the league started saying marginal contact, right? The marginal contact is now what they call it. And that has made the game rougher and even more difficult to officiate. Now,
the court's not big enough. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Only baseball has not outgrown its original architecture.
Geometry, yeah.
Only baseball.
Yes. But I don't know. People are into it. I mean,
it's fun.
Are really into it.
Thursday night we'll have Wolves Fever downtown.
Oh God, yes.
Oh yeah.
You want to go to the watch party, Joe?
No, I don't.
Do you think some of those bars downtown are the watch bar?
The ones that remained open.
Happy.
Yeah.
Some of them.
They almost lured me out of retirement, Patrick, to come work.
Glicks will have a good crowd.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I think they'll win Thursday night.
I think they will too. Hey, Pat's deep
shots.
thought. You got to make shots.
If they make shots.
Right.
You can't score a goal without the shot.
The fact of the matter is, all 4 games have been winnable for them, and they were bad the last 3-4 minutes, 3 games in a row, and last night they were good. They outscored them 16-10 the last 5 minutes. So
it does require a Herculean effort by Towns, though. Is that the word? Hercules.
To make his shots in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
He wasn't good in the first half, right?
No, he was not.
Yeah.
And Edwards has to be totally alive.
Yes.
And he was last night.
They seem to, from what I could tell, I got to watch it, listening to it, they cracked the code of the double team that they've been putting on him all the time and give him a little more room, Edwards, and maybe just because Cat was making some shots or something. But
don't you think if they win Thursday, though, Dallas tightens up a little bit?
I don't know. Last year, just think if we have this moment, though. Last year, Boston was like the 2 seed, right, or 1 seed.
I think they might have been the 1 seed.
The Heat Miami comes through and upsets 2 teams.
Because they were a play-in team.
No, they were the 8. Oh, they were a play-in team.
They were a play-in team.
Boston must have been the 2nd seed, because otherwise it would have been 8-1 playing.
Sure.
But
because they beat Milwaukee. You're right.
yes.
Yep.
So Miami upsets its way to the finals, right? Mm-hmm. Miami takes a 3-0 lead against Boston. They're underdogs. Boston wins the next 3, goes back home to celebrate, and gets beat in Game 7. One of the worst losses in Celtic history, because they knew they were going to win after winning 3 in a row and coming back. So I don't know if you're going to lose in Dallas on win here and then lose in Dallas. Don't win in Dallas and then come back and get beat Game 7.
Right, that'd be bad.
That would be bad. That would be very bad. So, but you can't take away what occurred, no matter what happens here, if they lose the next game or you can't take away that second round series against Denver. That was one of the most fabulous, incomprehensible athletic contests I've ever seen over 7 games, because you humiliated them to take a 2-0 lead. You humiliated yourself to lose the next 3, and then you humiliated them in Game 6, and then you won Game 7. It was fabulous, to say the least. But they do have a problem, and do you think the problem is as simple as it can't be officiated?
Yes.
The game?
Yes.
These huge men running into each other.
It's impossible for them to not touch each other.
Yes.
They're too big and the court's too small.
Mm-hmm. And so then you're giving these guys, they basically have to, in their own minds, decide what's too much. And if they blow one, if they miss it, somebody gets knocked down, they don't call it, then they're likely to call a touch foul the other side.
It'd be interesting to study game film of the first 5 minutes of NBA games.
Yes.
Nothing is called.
No.
Then it changes.
Right.
And they start calling it. Why not officiate them the way you do in the first 5 minutes?
I agree completely.
Well,
I don't know why, but in the first 5 minutes,
It does change.
you're flying up and down and stuff's happening,
Yes.
and then, there's a foul.
And the other thing that I noticed, too, is once one guy decides he's going to blow his whistle, then everybody else decides, we got to blow our
I was
whistle.
just going to say that. And by the way, that it's not unique to the big-time college game is a lot like that, too.
Yes.
You kind of start off letting everybody go up down the court, and then somebody blows a foul whistle, and then somebody else starts blowing the whistle. And you know what? I think here's a novel idea. I always have great novel ideas. Go back to 2 officials. Mm-hmm. Why do we need 3?
We got to have a replay.
So
guy.
we can so we can miss more foul calls. Let's have 2 guys, and then they can say, there's only 2 of us. We can't see everything. You can admit it.
Is the replay guy on site or in New York?
No, I know. They got 3 on the court.
They have 3 on the
and then
court.
They got the replay.
But hockey has said, we got to go to Toronto for
Yeah,
this.
they go to headquarters.
Yeah, we don't go to headquarters in the
believe so.
NBA.
I don't believe
You know what? Another statement.
Okay, I'm
All
ready.
sports.
Yep.
Replay's the worst thing that ever happened. Replay's the worst thing that ever happened.
Not
Great
steroids?
for T-Boy. No, worse than steroids. Cocaine, worse than cocaine, worse than,
I'd love to talk to that space alien who's the commissioner, that fruitcake.
Adam Silver.
Yeah, and I would lay into him and say, you got to do something about your product, pal, because you're nuts, and so is the league.
Yeah, but then your favorite game.
You can see a penalty in hockey.
Yes,
you can see it.
Yes, you can see it, but that doesn't mean they're going to call it.
I know, but you can see it. At least you can see it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It is.
When you trip somebody, I can see that.
Yes, right. And then you can all scream when they don't call it
Right.
overtime, because it's overtime.
Well, they're no dummies. They're not there. They're there to let them play out the overtime. And if you
Okay.
chop a guy's head off, you ain't getting a penalty.
if you give him an ear,
That's
if
right.
the guy skates
Just
over
give him an
and
ear.
If the guy skates over and says,
Well,
look,
That's
it's
my ear. That's all right. Never mind. You're fine.
I've told you, Don Riley's my favorite. My first meeting with Don Riley, had a few whiskeys in him or whatever he drank at St. John's after they won the national championship in '65. They'd won. So I'm there in '66 in May, and the football banquet is the end of the year football banquet. It's an athletic banquet, but it basically was honoring the football team. And Riley was the main speaker and talked about all the great things he'd been, I've told you this 100 times, seen in athletes. And one included some guy burning to death at Indy on the track at the Indy 500. Another was Gordie Howe chopping Leo Fontaine's ear off in the Chicago. And that's what makes sports
That's
great.
right,
Yeah,
Don.
right. It was, what I said, I got to get to know this guy because he's insane. And then I got to work with him. What a treat.
No team, no city has ever had 2 champions of the 4 major league sports in the same year.
Not even
That
Boston?
can't be true.
That's what I was told last night by a statistician.
No. So it would have to be the same
So no team has held the Cup and the NBA title
title
in
at
the
the
same
time.
year.
Okay. All right. In the spring of the spring.
But I guess that means no team has had the Cup and a World Series in the same year.
yeah, I guess.
No team
matter
has
of
had
fact-
the Super Bowl champ. And
I'm rooting for the Rangers because I don't like Dallas.
I'm rooting for the Rangers because I bet on them.
Yes, and I don't want I don't like Florida either. I want them to get beat.
Well, you just
They're playing
said,
the Rangers, and then I want Edmonton to win too.
Fact-based.
yeah,
Your statistician is incorrect.
okay.
I just Googled cities with multiple titles in the same calendar year.
Yeah.
And Los Angeles just did it in 2020.
Huh. With what?
The Lakers and the Dodgers.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And as recently as 2018, Boston did it
With what?
with cities with multiple titles in a year.
Hockey?
Would have been were the Patriots Super Bowl champs in 2018?
Probably. They were Super Bowl champs about every other year.
What do we put football? It's the 2000. Even though the Super Bowl champion is now crowned in the middle of February, it's the 2023 champion because that's the season, right?
I wonder at what point Kelsey's going to outwear his public welcome when showing up everywhere. Did you see Kelsey sitting with Patrick Mahomes and
Yes.
Mahomes' wife?
Yes.
She's the Yoko Ono of the Chiefs.
Yes.
She's got to go. She's trouble.
The wife.
Yeah,
Mahomes' wife.
Well, she's I don't know. She's an irritation.
Yeah.
But all
pe-
3 of them are sitting there.
People are mad at Patrick. Well, he grew up in Dallas. He can be
right.
a Mavericks fan.
He's a Mavericks fan. Okay, so I have it here.
Yes, but the wife did a pretty good job of buddying up to Taylor, though, right? Weren't they pals?
Oh, they're big shots. Yeah, they're
Taylor,
BFFs.
Taylor must be in
Europe or
or
something,
She
yeah.
can't sit there next to the big lunk.
I should
He looks like
rephrase
he's
it.
out of shape, by the way.
He
too.
does
He
look
looks
like he's
he
out
put
of
on
shape.
about 20.
Well, he's been doing nothing but partying since
Just
they won the Super
partying
Bowl.
nonstop.
That's right. And his brother, who we just fired to put his brother on TV.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, they're putting his brother on TV, and we fired somebody. I can't know.
What's Draymond Green got against Gobert?
I don't know. I don't watch it, but I haven't watched his tirade because I mean, I'll watch it if I'm home. But I suppose they've had some battles.
I thought
don't
he
know.
was a bad guy in basketball. I thought he
Yes.
started fights and
He
stuff.
just had an indefinite suspension last year.
What are they putting him?
Put him
Why are they
on
making a
TV?
TV star out of him
Because
for?
they think he'll draw viewers in. But
Jeez.
those guys have completely mailed it in, Pat,
really?
inside the NBA. In fact,
You're talking about Charles and the boys?
yeah, so in fact,
How
I
come
heard.
Shaq is not anymore.
I think he's basically said, bleep it, I'm done. But Charles, I listened to this on our road trip over the weekend. Charles was on with Dan Patrick and went scorched earth on TNT. You got to find it and listen to it.
Because they're gonna They only got 1 year left on their contract.
Right. And he basically torched all of his bosses. Everybody says, I don't care. I'm out of work anyway.
Yeah.
It was a really good interview, but holy cow, he did not hold back. Let's
And
just
then
say
they
that.
played the old saw about not wanting to go back to Minnesota because it's snowing here. Well, it's not really snowing here
No,
right now.
what was I saw a bunch of stuff about the Charles said something about that. He didn't want to go back.
If he was Jason Kidd, he'd just show him photos and stuff of winter in
He
Minnesota.
would do what Richard did. He'd send him pictures of snowbanks and stuff. Drifts.
It worked.
Yeah.
It did. Yeah.
Yeah.
We beat the Rams. Yeah, we beat the Rams. So that's right. Yeah, I don't. I love Charles as much as the next guy, but nothing he says is sincere. It's just to get through the show.
Right.
Reavers keeps threatening to come to my house and fix me up with Zulu or whatever the hell it is. Zuba?
He's because-
Whatever. Yeah, I can't see a Twins game.
Yeah, Fubo.
Are we any closer to getting some
Click
resolution?
Fubo. Just down at the apps. Look at Fubo. Hit it.
Patrick, have you met the mayor?
You can find Fubo.
Yeah, but then don't you have to enter a password?
Well, you got to establish one and get them a credit card so they can charge you.
Well, I thought I already.
We'll get her.
Put the missus on it.
We
She's got-
tried. We tried.
She got about 8 apps that you don't even know she has, for God's
Yeah.
sakes. The apps the other day, she proudly told me she got rid of $22 worth of apps. I looked them up. We got like 22 of them.
Yeah, I had to do some editing on my TV at home as well.
If I knew how to find it to kill them out, I would. Because you can just click them off.
Do you have to turn on? Do you have to attach the computer to the TV?
No.
Joe, no.
No.
But you do have to have Wi-Fi connected to the TV.
Yes. And then you have.
Oh, I don't know if it is.
Then you can do it on your. You can do it on your phone or computer.
You have Amazon Prime, so yes, you do. You have Wi-Fi capability on the television.
All
You got
I know
Netflix-
is it's pretty damn easy to lose sight of the Twins when you can't watch them on TV.
I know. And last night they announced 15. They were counting legs. There was nobody there.
Really?
I said that when Duran came in, I said on Twitter, Duran came in and they did the lights show with this. I said it looked like the kids in the neighborhood looking for night crawlers.
Yeah.
There was about
boy.
6 of them. There was nobody there last night. And
It was chilly.
It was
a cool night.
Plus, you got the Wolves playing.
The Wolves were playing.
But a
It's
lot of people didn't use their tickets, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
And Kansas City's okay this year. They're having a decent year.
Kansas City at this time last year was 17-39. This year they're 34-22.
Yeah.
Twice as many wins. So that's good.
Now, is Buxton full-time DH now?
No, he's playing center field.
Oh, he was. Okay.
More often than not.
yeah.
More often than not. Last night, triple
Yeah.
and a stolen base. Looked good.
I like triples.
I do too.
Did you
Especially when he hits them, because those strides from second to third were like this long. They were, he's a long strider, man.
There were a lot of tributes yesterday to Angel Hernandez, and my favorite
Poor
one
Angel.
was the Angel Hernandez selfie where his sight line was off, basically meaning it was a strike call of his.
Okay, why was he an umpire if he was that bad? What happened?
The computer happened. Yeah. He got in when.
But I mean, I saw some calls he made that a kid could have got it correctly.
Yeah. Well, he was trouble. Did you see Ryan Jeffers' quotes though when in our Bobby Nightingale's piece today? He said it's really great guy. He said good guy.
Just not a very good umpire.
Yeah, he just missed a few here and there.
But he resigned.
Was
he told to?
Suing baseball for never being made a crew chief, basically, and not getting assignments in the World Series and stuff as like he'd like to. And that this is basically a settlement of the lawsuit. If you leave, we'll settle the lawsuit. So that's what it is. He's only 62. But he wasn't good. That's for sure. But
I questioned whether he could see.
on some, yeah. Well, it is a definite skill, and he didn't have it. But
He didn't have it at all.
But he came in the era when you didn't really have him. That's my strike zone.
Mm-hmm.
That used to be. This is my strike zone. You know, he didn't have the box.
Right.
When they came up with the box, that all of a sudden this was the strike zone instead of this is my strike zone. Greg Maddux hadn't thrown a pitch in that box yet, for God's sakes. He's in the Hall of Fame because he got 4 inches outside. And if he didn't get the 4 inches, Coxie got thrown out of the game for screaming at the umpire.
Yep.
Set a world record for ejections, and 90% of them were arguing balls and strikes. Screaming balls and strikes. He wouldn't last 3 minutes in the game today because they got such rabbit ears now to throw guys out. They don't have anything else to do, so somebody yells at them.
Including the one guy that threw out Aaron Boone because a fan behind Boone was yelling at the umpire.
That's Hunter Wendelstedt.
Yeah,
that's the one I told you that Coxie, when he was here in 2010, he's only when the Braves were here, and then he quit after that. But Gardy had gotten in a traditional run-in with Hunter Wendelstedt. Hunter Wendelstedt threw him out 10 times, I guess. And I said, what's something about it? I was talking to him after the game. There was a bunch of us in there, and I said, what do you think of Gardy and Hunter? They don't get along too well. And he says, yeah, Hunter threw me out a couple weeks ago. I told him he wouldn't make a good pimple on his old man's ass. I said, that'll do her. That'll probably do her. Because his father, Harry, was a famous umpire.
Yeah.
So anyway, it would be fun.
So speaking of that, I don't know why this surfaced over the weekend, Patrick, but I'm sure you saw it as well. I think somebody, it might have been a blogger, grabbed an old clip from the Ride with Royce show, and all of a sudden it was trending on Twitter, which I couldn't figure out why. So the reason I'm going to play it, because you mentioned the umpire, and so you were talking to Tom Kelly.
Okay.
And this little clip surfaced over the weekend, and it was hysterical because this was basically his appearance every other week on the show. Here you go.
Reavers, as a guy that has made many blunders managing town baseball teams over the years.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me.
No, I was going to ask you a question, though, because I'm sure you've made a few mistakes that you look back on. But
for sure.
I don't know if you
go to World Series and point a few out. I put the hit and run on with Kirby Puckett up against the left-hander from Atlanta. And of course, Puck swung and hit the ball right on the third base, and the fielder tagged third, and Pendleton, I think it was, tagged third and threw to first, double play. How stupid was that? If I leave it alone, it would have been a double. But no, I got to start the runners, and so the fielder goes over to cover the bag, and here's the ball.
Oh, that was great. But I think he
probably pounded by that. Probably still bothers.
Well, I was thinking because he never got ejected, did he? Did Tom Kelly ever?
Yeah,
have
5 or 6 times.
Oh, he did. Okay, but it was rare. It was rare that he would get run.
Real, yeah,
okay,
but,
that's what made me think of that because I was going to ask you that this week when we did the show. Oh,
what a beauty!
Yeah, I got to go cut grass.
Still, nothing will ever beat. Nothing will ever beat Tommy Harp. Marty Cordova getting picked off in an exhibition game in Boston at the Boston ballpark, and Tommy Harper's coaching first base, and Cordova gets picked off first and for the Red Sox, and TK steps out of the dugout and yells, "That's not your fault, Tommy. That's my fault. I never taught him how to play baseball. I couldn't teach him how to play baseball." And he hated Cordova. Cordova's getting smaller as he's running off. It's like he's about 3'6" by the time he gets to the dugout. That's Tommy. That's all on me. Don't feel bad. Oh God, he's. I haven't talked to him for a while.
Is his health okay?
Are you going to be in the building tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going upstairs, unless it's raining outside. If it rains during the day, then I'm not going, because last time we were up there and it rained
leaked
during the day, then it came down.
Is that right?
It got rained on. Yeah, we got rained on. Joe, you occasionally take a shot at some of our environmental ideas.
Yeah.
They put the sod roof on the Target Center.
I didn't know
They
that.
got the sod roof up
Yeah.
there. They put sod up there.
Why?
Environmental. to hold the water so it can leak through the roof.
Why in the hell would they have a sod roof?
I don't know. There's some sod, some they did environmentally. It makes it breathe better.
Wait a minute. Now that you mention it, I was downtown a few weeks ago, and I met a friend in one of the high, and I remember looking, why is the Target Center roof green?
Yes.
I didn't know it was sod.
Sod roof. I'm not sure if it covers the whole thing.
That means there has to be dirt up there.
Yeah, that's right. The day that it rained buckets here, so when they were home for game two.
Yep.
And we get up there, and you can see it coming down, and all of a sudden it louder it gets, and then it's like boom, 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 and everywhere you see it, and every once in a while it's a drop that comes down.
Wouldn't you think they'd fix that?
I think they're embarrassed to admit it.
Jeez.
A sod roof.
Yeah, they put it on top of the roof for to be a beautification, or I don't know, to help it breathe or something. But basically, it holds water, so then it can work harder to.
Somebody got to mow it?
I don't know what they do. I don't think so. I don't know.
What the hell?
Let me ask you a question, Suchi boy. Are you more in favor of a sod roof for a basketball arena or a new park over I-94? Which one would you be more in favor of?
I'll take the sod roof.
The sod roof.
Listen, you people on 94, you got your house for about half price because you were moving in next to a freeway.
Yep.
It's like you people buy a house under the airport and want us to pay to get rid of the noise. You got the house cheap because you built it underneath the railroad, underneath the airplanes. You got your house at 94. You got your house on 94 cheap because you're next to 94.
This doesn't have anything to do with the housing prices. They just don't want cars.
I know,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is they're the ones complaining.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And you remain the most Republican liberal in
the
town.
most logical liberal in town. Yes. I mean, there's nothing that could cause me to vote more for the other side than putting a bike lane the width of this room on 55 and taking away the lane, even though you could go a half a mile away and look at 394 at 4 in the afternoon when the cars are backed up the frickin' Ridgedale, But so the alternative, let's see how we can make the alternative 55 even slower and take away a lane, you morons.
That's right.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
For some jackass riding a bike.
Yep.
If you're Worth Parkway, you're in Worth Parkway. You don't need to ride your bike somewhere else. You don't need to ride on 55. Right? You've got we all wait at the stop sign for you to get your damn bike across Glenwood Avenue, okay? I always wait. I never hit any of you. Take that instead of going on 55 and give us our lane back, you
Save
jackasses.
that. I'm going to use it on GL.
Okay.
Because when I have one, I can not have another other one. I'll just use Pat's.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should see it. It's unbelievable.
And if you're in your car,
I got to go meet a guy.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, oh, wait.
Patrick, what if you're in your car from the Valley Group of GM dealers on 55?
Well, you'll be comfortable.
That's
right. You'll be comfortable. Even as you're seething, you'll be comfortable.
The steam is coming out of your
steam
ears.
is coming out of your ears. Jim Paul and Brett Paul can't do anything about that, right? They can't do anything about them stealing a lane from me on Highway 55. But if you're looking for a good price on a good car, full stock, every big honking vehicle you want to take the whole hockey team to the arena on the weekend, you can get a Yukon. You can put about 8 kids in there. You can put in 2 lines and 2 defensemen. And if you got the Yukon, you got the Sierra trucks out there. You got everything, all the stock. good factory rebates going on right now on quite a bit of the vehicles. 4 different kinds of SUVs. Apple Valley, Hastings, low interest rates too, 0.9, 1.9 if you qualify. And Hastings, Apple Valley, my guy's in Apple Valley, Reaver's guy's in Apple Valley.
Yes, sir.
And they got loads of SUVs, which is, I know, I'm kind of a old school guy. I get sedans and I get convertibles and things like that. But most of you want your SUVs, and they got them. Jim Paul and Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers. I think you can look them up on valleygroupdealers.com and check out the stock we have out there.